Like the mighty phoenix, Fistful of Joes has risen from the ashes.
20 minutes later.
Oh my god, I'm lightheaded. Hello, fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Fistful of Joes Reloaded. My name is Rob, and yes, Fistful of Joes is back. The last time we did a Fistful of Joes was all the way back in July, and then it came from my side of the laundry room. Now, I am making it its very own series, and yeah, I hope to add a lot of little things to it that weren't in the original go-around. While we're on the topic of adding things, I really hope the intro that I have in my imagination looks as cool to you all, because I have not yet made it. I am filming this before I do any of that computer stuff, so fingers crossed it all works out. Anyway, now what I did was all of my little bins here, I dumped all out on the table. And I'm going to talk a little bit more of the behind the scenes of that in the Dirty Laundry episode that will be airing later this week. Anyway, I dumped out all the figures, mixed them all up, gently mind you, and put them back into different boxes. So I am hoping that the random nature of this show is even more random and even more awesome, because when I had my little containers before, I kind of had them divvied up into different, factions or generations, and yeah, I'm hoping now we get a great cross-section of a little bit of everything when it comes to the 3 3/4 G.I. Joe figures. All that being said, if you have not seen a Fistful of Joes episode, what it is, I reach in and grab a fistful, mind you, of random G.I. Joe figures from my little storage cases. Most of the time, I grab 5 of them, and that's what I usually shoot for. So, I know that we did not cover all the figures I had the first go-around, but we're starting to run into a lot of repetition with the troop building characters that I have. So, that's why I stopped it at episode 30, and we are now refreshed and reloaded. So, without further ado, let's see what the box has to offer. Okay, folks, here we go. I'm going to reach in and grab 5 random G.I. Joe figures. So, let me reach in here, plop them right here, and let's get started. Okay, our first figure is the 25th anniversary Storm Shadow, the version 2. Sorry for any blurriness. With all 25th anniversaries, he comes with an awesome stand that I wish they would do nowadays. But I found some places to buy stands for the 6-inch figures for the classifieds, and I plan on getting some. But anyways, I got to be blurry. Anyway, let's take a look at the figure itself. It has this, it's not a backpack, so it's not pegged and stuck on there. It's very loose, but we have his rope like the original had. This setup for the backpack that we see on a lot of the 25th anniversary ninja figures, but we got the Arashikage symbol here. We have some arrows. We have another Arashikage symbol up here. Oh, sorry, my nails are dirty. And as usual, the 25th anniversary, just awesome posability, articulation. But
yet again, there's things about him that scare me still to this day after all these years. Like, I mean, these little joints seem very breakable, so I'm play with them with kid gloves on. And here we got the Arashikage tattoo. Sorry for any blurriness. Anyway, version 2 of Storm Shadow will always be one of my favorites of all time. And when it came out, it was such a surprise. And I never had a Storm Shadow as a kid, so I was able to get him. And yeah, I mean, and the fact that he was on the Joe team and, you know, him and Snake Eyes were bros, I mean, that made it even more great. So what he came with a wakizashi, and yeah, the detailing on these is not that great. I mean, they have the blunt tips. I mean, they're a little, like, pocked up from the molding process. But let's put it in his sheath. Perfect fit. He has his katana. Same thing, very blunt. But look, they actually molded the Arashikage symbol on the blade itself. Oh my goodness. We are having some blurry issues, but my funky fingernails are in perfect definition, so I apologize. So that's pretty cool. Let's put that in its sheath. But it's almost like, how many times do you really need to put your Secret Ninja Clan's symbol on everything? Sorry for the washer and dryer noise in the background. But he also comes with a little dagger that goes into his belt. Just like the original figure, well, not this one in particular, but the original Storm Shadow figure had molded into his belt. So they incorporated that. They reused the same belt with the shuriken in it and the dagger. And he comes with a longbow. Now, it would have been cool to see the compound bow and claws make a return with this version. But I ain't hating. I like this version. And yeah, it's a great figure. So, yeah, I really dig it. And let's get to the next one, shall we? Our next figure is Quick Kick. Now, I don't have a lot of details to give to this Quick Kick because this is a Fun School Quick Kick. Now, back in the early 2000s, when I started collecting G.I. Joe again, I couldn't afford the prices that the figures were going for back then at the time. And I found a website online, back in the dark ages of online shopping, that was selling Fun School G.I. Joe figures. And they had a very limited supply. A lot of them, you know, really awesome figures were already sold out. But they had Quick Kick, and I've always been a fan of Quick Kick. And yeah, I mean, it is a really great version of him. I feel like I may have done some touch-up painting on it. Like there were some issues, but I'm not completely sure. There's one of my Play School figures that I totally wrecked by trying to clean it up, quote unquote. But we'll get to him some other day. Now, let's put him back on his stand here. Now, the one thing about the Fun School figures, of course, they're not made, you know, to the exact same quality that the Hasbro versions. Like you can see here, there's like a hole, and that's probably during the molding process. Something happened, but I mean, it looks like a slash, but believe me, I didn't do anything. That's the way he came out of the package. And yeah, I probably should have saved these in the package, but I was just too excited to, play with them and, kind of reclaim that thing from my youth to why I started collecting them again. But the katana here, I mean, it looks pretty good. At least it has a point, unlike the 25th anniversary one we just looked at. But it is some of the most flimsy and almost translucent. It's so thin plastic. And the hilt here isn't the best of molding, but it fits in his hand somewhat, and it fits in his little backpack here, even though you need to help guide it through. So, whoa, sorry for the blurriness. So there we got it in the backpack, and let's put it on. Now, he also came with his nunchucks. And again, I mean, you can see by the chain there, not the best. And like I said, it's this cheap plastic that almost has like a translucent quality. It's so thin. So I will try to find some info on it, but I'm not 100% sure. So there is a Fun School Quick Kick. Again, one of my favorite characters. I thought he was great in the cartoon, other than some of his impressions got a little annoying. But that might be me as an adult looking back on it. As a kid, I probably got a kick out of it. But not the original, but I'm still happy that I have it in my collection, and it kind of is a stopgap until one day I find him for a decent price. So, let's grab another Joe. Okay, here is the comic 2-pack Stalker. And as you can see, he doesn't come with the awesome gear that he originally did. But let me just say, Stalker was a figure I wanted from the get-go. As soon as I was introduced to G.I. Joe in 1982, he was one of the characters I wanted so bad and was never able to get. Heck, I didn't get his other versions as well. I would have loved the kayak version. So when I finally got this dude in my collection, I felt like I hit a milestone. I was finally able to get a character I wanted for so long, albeit not the exact one. But this is like a more comic accurate version. Of course, the original early run of the Marvel comic, with the color scheme, and we got the red here that a lot of them originally had on their uniforms. And I mean, all in all, it is a great figure. It's, an OG style O-ring figure. Kinda has a spring-loaded waist there. But a lot of those reproduction of the O-ring figures at that time period kind of had that. So I don't think there's anything really wrong with them. I just think there was something different in the process. He came with this backpack that, if I'm not mistaken, looks an awful lot like the Cobra Viper backpack. But, I mean, it fits. It's an awesome backpack, a nice generic one. And he came with an M16. Now, the thing I like about these M16s, they have these here for a shoulder strap. So I don't know if I ever found something that would fit and not break those very delicate molded circlets on there, I would do that. I think that would be pretty cool. Now, I am probably going to fly through a lot of these figures nowadays because of the little factoid page I'm throwing up, because a lot of the facts I don't remember while we're doing this. So that's something I'm doing through the editing process. And I hope you enjoy it. I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to do different this time around, because I am wrong so much of the time. So I'm making myself seem like a big brain boy by putting those. No, not really. But anyway, there were a couple things at the beginning of this episode I wish I could have changed. And I actually did try to reshoot the intro, but it just wasn't as good as the original one that I did, which maybe in hindsight really isn't that great anyway. But I said that we would be covering only the 3 3/4 figures, and that's not something I want to do. I want to tackle G.I. Joe figures of all different sizes. I have a bunch of different Joe figures from different eras, different sizes, different years, and I would love to talk about all of them eventually. So I just wanted to throw that out. And okay, with that, Stalker is done, and we'll move on to the next random G.I. Joe or Cobra figure that we get. Here we go. We have Frostbite, and unfortunately, I don't have the Snowcat that he originally came with or that awesome rifle. I just have the bare bones figure, but he's in decent shape. And let me point out the original bag that he was in from when I purchased him. If you can make this out, it says $1 needs gun. So for $1, I got a great bargain. And the details are still very much intact. I mean, we have the little cat emblem there. Nice blue, I like that. His face looks really good, not scuffed up. A little scuffing here on the belt and the gun. He's not yellowed that awful much. I mean, a little bit. But it could be a lot worse. So, I mean, I picked him up at a flea market for a super duper great bargain. And, I mean, I loved the figure as a kid, and I loved the vehicle. I mean, my neighbor had it, so I loved, playing with it at his house. But unfortunately, I was never able to get it for myself when I was a kid. Now, I mean, he's got a little bit of wonkiness, but all in all, I mean, he's pretty tight, pretty good joints, and for $1, yeah, I think I was really lucky. And I really don't have much to say. I don't have, a lot of super duper memories other than, chilling out at my buddy's house, playing with it when we had played G.I. Joe, which he hardly ever let me play with it, but I got to watch him play with it. He was one of them friends, and I'm sure you all have memories of people like that. But yeah, I mean, I'd buy that for $1. So yeah, great deal, great figure, great condition. So on to our final Fistful of Joes contestants. Does that sound right? Contestants. This isn't a game show. Anyway, on to the next one. Our last figure will be Sneak Peek. And I'm sure you saw from the little factoid that he is named after Stephen King's son, one of them. And yeah, that's really awesome. Tell me, if you were a kid, that wouldn't be the highest honor that you could ever receive, a G.I. Joe figure named after you. Anyway, I can tell you right now, I have some of his gear, but not all of it. He's missing his microphone that would come down, and I'm not 100% sure what hung from this hook. This was a character I did not have as a kid. Again, that buddy that I mentioned had it. Seemed like he had everything. And yeah, this was a figure I picked up at a flea market, and I do not remember how much or how long ago, but I'm happy for what gear he does have, because his giant super duper periscope thingamajig is his namesake, his sneaking and peeking. So, I see you. I hope you're enjoying the episode. I see you. Anyway, now this part came off. I remember that. And, you know, for the life of me, I don't even know how he's legit supposed to hold this. I mean, I'm sure these little fins on it mean something, and I'll try to find a picture of someone having it all geared up. But we'll just have him hold it, caress it like he would a lady that he's dancing with, or dude, whatever he's into. So we'll have him hold it like that. Now, he also came with some binoculars. Of course you need those if you're sneaking and peeking. And a little, I don't know, I'm not versed in all of artillery, so what is this, an M? It's not an M16, it's a little bit smaller. M14? Maybe, I don't know. But his shoulder strap is busted. Now, I have an extra one in my accessories container, but I'll leave this with him. And we can use the broken feature to snap it on there. Like, wait up for me, guys, my arms are full. Hey, I gotta sneak and peek. Oh. Anyway, I like sneak peek. I mean, I think figures like this kind of get some flack from certain collectors, but I think he's cool. I mean, he's a very basic, very Joe looking character with some really neat accessories. I mean, he has this like flackish kind of stuff that reminds me of like Grand Slam or one of those characters. Zap, I think. No, I don't know. It's late at night, and if you've seen a previous Fistful of Joes, the more tired I get, the more dumb I get. So, but he's in pretty good condition. I mean, there's a couple little scrapes and stuff here and there. Some scrapes off of his goggles around the waist here, but all in all, I mean, it's pretty good. And knowing me, whenever I did purchase this, I didn't spend a super amount of money. So I'm going to say I probably got it for a pretty good deal, because things were a lot it was a lot easier to find bargains back in the day than nowadays. As you've seen any of my Internauts Go episodes, yeah, prices on things like this are crazy nowadays. But yep, here he is. I think he looks great, and with that, we're going to end this episode of Fistful of Joes. So back to me.
Okay, folks, back to me. I really hope that was an enjoyable first episode of Fistful of Joes Reloaded. Now, I was kind of feeling my way while filming this. So if anything seems off, hopefully it's something I will learn to, make into a routine the more episodes we do. Because I've always had it planned what I wanted to do, but haven't actually done it yet. So, like I said, if there's any problems, just hang in there. They will be fixed down the road. Hopefully soon. And hopefully there's no real problems. But anyway, if you remember back when I unboxed that awesome gift from Chris A, the Night Rhino, I made a comment that, whenever I would kick off a, Fistful of Joes-esque show, I'd be putting the figures on the Night Rhino. Well, I kind of rethought that. The figures that have their accessories, I'm going to keep them bagged up with their accessories. But the figures that don't have any accessories will be jumping on board the Night Rhino. So, after this episode, Frostbite has joined the crew. So it's him and Dusty, getting ready to hit the Dusty Trail. Sorry, Dusty. And attack Cobra on Cobra Island. But if I even do some Cobra figures without accessories, I might throw them on board. Why not? It's just a display piece. Might as well have fun with it. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. I made the comment earlier on that it's pretty late. And you know me, the later it gets, the more I ramble and the more dumb I get. So let's just end things there on a high note, hopefully. And I will see you next month for another Fistful of Joes Reloaded. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everybody. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this, or any of the episodes YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you will be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Keep being rad, and stay dorky!